Military life has always been a tough test for any South Korean man, and Cha Eunwoo, who is out there known as a popular star with near-perfect visuals, was not spared the pressure that could make him collapse in tears. Many people had only seen Eunwoo's sparkling side on music stages, drama screens, or media interviews, but the reality of the barracks was 180 degrees different. There were no cameras panning to capture her sweet smile, no fans screaming for encouragement, and no spotlights flattering her presence. There is only a hard routine, strict orders, as well as seniors who are ready to reprimand at any time if there is a mistake, no matter how small it is. So, when word spread that Eunwoo was crying because of being scolded by a senior, the public immediately wondered, did he really make a fatal mistake? Or was the crying born from the accumulation of pressure that was too heavy for a human being to bear, no matter how strong he was in the eyes of the outside world? Several anonymous sources who supposedly knew the situation in the barracks said that the incident had a seemingly simple beginning. Eunwoo was said to be a few seconds late in responding to the instructions given by his senior. For the civilian world, a delay of a few seconds may not mean anything, but in the military environment, it can be interpreted as a serious omission. The senior who was watching the barracks at that time immediately raised his voice, reprimanding Eunwoo in front of the other colleagues. That loud tone made the atmosphere quiet for a moment, and all eyes were on Eunwoo. His normally calm face slowly turned stiff, his eyes glazed over, until finally he was unable to hold the suffocating feeling in his chest. Tears fell, not because he wanted to look weak, but because the mental stress he had faced for weeks seemed to break out in that one moment. On the other hand, there are also rumors that seniors' anger is not just about rules, but about higher expectations towards Eunwoo. As a famous figure, he was required to be an example. The senior may feel that the slightest mistake from him can set a bad example for other soldiers. Thus, the tone of the rebuke was deliberately made louder, as if to show everyone that there are no exceptions, even for a celebrity. Ironically, that pressure actually makes Eunwoo look the most human. He is not on stage with perfect choreography, but in a harsh real world, full of uncompromising rules, and he is crushed in the face of a system that crushes anyone who is not perfect. The public then talked at length about how Eunwoo's tears should be understood. Many fans refused to see the cry as a weakness. They affirmed that crying is natural, even emotionally healthy. On social media, thousands of comments have sprung up. One wrote, "Eunwoo has fought hard. Don't burden him with inhuman expectations." While another added, "The tears are proof that he is truly serving in the army, not playing games. He is not only a celebrity, but also an ordinary tired mortal." Such support flooded online forums, making this incident not just an internal military story, but a public phenomenon that touched the hearts of many. Some analysts even considered that this incident could have a positive impact on Eunwoo's image. During this time, he was often seen as too perfect, too handsome, too talented, too untouchable. However, through this story, fans see his fragile side, a side that rarely appears. For some, the fragile side is even more alluring than perfection. Eunwoo looks real, like an ordinary person struggling with pressure, and that makes him even more lovable. His cry was considered not as a sign of defeat, but as a sign that he was forging himself in a difficult terrain. However, not a few are worried about the long-term psychological impact. The pressure in the military can make an impression, especially for those who are used to living in comfort and respect. Eunwoo must endure the longing for family, friends, and fans. He also had to cut ties with the outside world for a while, abandoning life as a celebrity in favor of being part of a cold and rigid system. Her crying may be just the tip of the iceberg of the burden she has been keeping tight. How he manages that burden will largely determine his mental strength going forward. There is also speculation that after this incident, the angry senior actually paid more attention to Eunwoo. The harsh rebuke was probably meant to educate, not to bring down. Several former soldiers shared stories that seniors often use harsh methods to make juniors adapt faster, but behind the scenes, they secretly take care and pay attention. If that's the case, Eunwoo likely learned a valuable lesson. Discipline that was strictly enforced in the beginning will turn into a strong bond between junior and senior after time runs out. The international public also began to highlight this news. Foreign media wrote that the incident showed a clear cultural difference between celebrity life and Korean military life. An overseas journalist even wrote an article with the headline, "Asterisk from Spotlight to Barracks. The Tears of a K-pop Star Asterisk," which highlighted how drastic transformations in everyday life can hit a big star. Eunwoo's story is considered to represent the harsh reality that all Korean men have to live with, no matter how high their position in society. Meanwhile, fans in different parts of the world continue to send support. They made global projects, sending letters, prayers, even charitable donations in Eunwoo's name, as if to show that even though he was deep inside the barracks, he was never alone. He may not be able to read the love directly, but positive energy from all over the world seems to flow to strengthen it. Over time, Eunwoo is believed to be able to rise from this experience. The tears that fell that day will be the memories that sculpt firmness in his heart. He will return to the stage one day, not only with a perfect smile, but also with a deeper story. Fans will see a Cha Eunwoo who has been forged by discipline, crying, and togetherness in the military barracks. He will stand stronger not only as an idol or actor, but as a man who truly understands the meaning of determination. And in the end, this incident of Senior getting so angry that Eunwoo burst into tears was not a tragedy, but a small fragment of his long journey as a Korean man of duty. The world may speculate, the public may wonder, but one thing is certain. Eunwoo is going through a phase of life that will shape him to become stronger, more mature, and more human. Those tears will be witnesses that even a figure considered perfect has its fragile moments, and that is precisely where its true strength lies. From the very beginning of his enlistment, many people believed Cha Eunwoo would be able to get through everything well. He is known for his discipline, humility, and gentle personality. But the soft heart often makes a person more easily injured when faced with the rigors of the military world. When the senior uttered a harsh rebuke, the rising tone of voice not only touched the ears, but also directly pierced into the fragile heart due to fatigue, lack of sleep, and a sense of homesickness that had accumulated. The tears that fell from Eunwoo that day were not just a momentary reaction, but rather a symbol of how hard he was trying to adjust to a world that was alien to him. Eyewitnesses who happened to be in the barracks at that time called the atmosphere tense. Senior's reprimand came suddenly. A loud voice echoed in the room full of young warriors. Everyone was silent, afraid of making the wrong move. Eunwoo, who had just finished his cleaning duties, looked a bit confused by the advanced instructions. He stood still for a moment, and that was the moment that made the senior feel the need to be tough. Stern words were thrown out mercilessly, making Eunwoo shocked. Within seconds, his face changed. He tried to hold back his emotions, but his eyes were getting wet. As her tears broke out, some of the colleagues around her looked shocked and awry, unable to do much but bow their heads. Some say that Senior didn't actually mean to drop Eunwoo. The reprimand was part of the routine of military education. But since Eunwoo is a public figure, the story expands and comes out to the outside world. Had he not been a celebrity, perhaps no one would have cared, and it would have just been a normal day in the barracks. But since it was Cha Eunwoo who was crying, things were different. People want to know the details, want to know his feelings, want to know how he got up after that. The public wanted to make this story a real portrait of the life of an idol in the harsh real world. On the other hand, the reaction of fellow soldiers turned out to be quite mixed. Some feel pity, others feel motivated. Some of them said, "If Eunwoo can be severely reprimanded, then we should all be careful." Seniors also most likely want to instill a message that the rules apply equally to all without exception. However, there are also colleagues who then approach Eunwoo secretly, encouraging him not to dissolve in sadness. They knew behind that famous face, Eunwoo was just a man of their age who was trying hard to fit in.